The anime opens by introducing us to the main character Takashi Komuro. He and his two classmates are running away from zombie-like creatures. While running, one of his classmates, Rei Miyamoto, tries to fight off one of the zombies. The zombie grabs her weapon and hits her to the floor. Thankfully her pillows break her fall. She screams and the other student they are with, Hisashi Ego, jumps and saves her. We then jump to the past, before the zombies arrived. Takashi gets a flashback of agreeing to marry a girl that looks suspiciously young. We then learn that girl is actually Rei and he is jealous because she is dating Hisashi. While Takashi is standing on the staircase, crying over a female, he notices a man banging on the school gate. When school officials approached him, he looks emotionless and is unresponsive. One of the administrators decides to grab him but gets bitten by the man, which causes him to also fall into a zombie-like trance. Takashi watches all this from the stairway and runs away as things get worse. He runs to his classroom and tries to warn the other students, but no one believes him except his friend, Hisashi. Takashi tries to convince Rei, but she calls him a liar, so he puts his hands on her. What a goat protagonist. They then find makeshift weapons and decide to evacuate the school. They manage to fight their way to the top of the building but realize the entire city has been overrun by zombies. We jump to the present, as Takashi, Rei and Hisashi are fighting their way to the highest place of the building. When they get to the top, they realize Hisashi had been bitten by the zombies. He doesn't want to turn into a zombie, so he convinces Takashi to give him a dignified ending. As two other survivors, Saya Takagi and Kota Hirano, try to avoid the zombies, Rei tries to contact her father, who tells her the city is in complete chaos before being cut off. Meanwhile, the Kendo Club president Saiko Busujima saves the school nurse, Shizuka Marikawa, from more zombies. Kota manages to piece together a nail gun, while Takashi and Rei manage to stop the zombies on their end. As Kota runs out of ammunition and Saya starts to buckle under the pressure, the other survivors join them to take out the zombies. As they make plans to journey to Takashi's house to check on the safety of their families, they learn that the outbreak is much worse than they thought. The survivors are shocked to learn that the zombie pandemic has spread worldwide. After encountering another group of survivors, Takashi tests a theory on avoiding the zombies based on how they can only react to sound. However, when one of the survivors accidentally makes a sound, they have to fight through a horde on the way to the bus, losing some survivors in the process. When they spot another group of survivors approaching, Rei recognizes one of the teachers, Koichi Shido, and is hesitant about letting him on board. After breaking out of the school, Rei becomes defiant about Shido, appointing himself as the leader, and runs off the bus. As Takashi goes after her, a bus filled with zombies crashes and traps them in a tunnel, forcing them to meet up with the other survivors later. After defeating a zombie motorcyclist, Takashi and Rei find their motorcycle and head toward the city. Takashi and Rei continue moving through the city until they encounter a police car. With the occupants dead, Rei searches the vehicle and gathers an expandable baton, a revolver, and some bullets. They later stop at a gas station to refill the gas fuel tank. As Takashi goes to a cash register nearby to operate the gas pump, Rei is attacked by an insane survivor who holds her hostage and gropes her. Takashi quickly shoots him, allowing Rei to break free. With their motorcycle refueled, Takashi and Rei begin moving again as they leave the survivor to die in the hands of the incoming zombies. At Kansai International Airport, Rika Minami and her squad from the Special Assault Team help in the evacuation of civilians by clearing zombies at the runway. Meanwhile, after escaping from a war zone between crazy survivors and zombies, Takashi and Rei learn that all of the bridges have been blocked by the police and military to prevent infected civilians from coming in. Back with the other group, they realize nothing good is gained by staying with Shido, so Saya, Kota, Saiko, and Shizuka leave the bus and head to Onbetsu Bridge, where they encounter more zombies and are rescued by the timely arrival of Takashi and Rei. Needing a place to stay for the night, Shizuka suggests they stay at the apartment where her friend Rika lives. When they arrive at the apartment, the girls refresh themselves in the bath while the boys check the weapons and ammunition in the household. Meanwhile, the police at the blockade are under pressure from both the zombies and the civilians trying to escape, including a group of protesters, led by a conspiracy theorist who believes the epidemic is a biological weapon of the US and Japanese governments. With no help coming from headquarters, the police are ordered to use deadly force to maintain order at the blockade. Back at the apartment, Takashi has to deal with Rei and Shizuka, who are both drunk. After an argument between them, Rei starts to come onto Takashi, but he holds her back. Just then, a dog starts barking outside, which starts to attract the zombies. While Takashi and the others survey the situation, a man tries to find shelter for his daughter, Alice Marisato, but is killed by paranoid survivors. When Alice screams, attract the zombies. Takashi decides to go to rescue her while Kota provides sniper support. Meanwhile, the girls, deciding they can no longer stay at the apartment, prepare to load up to move on. With the streets filled with zombies, Takashi, along with Alice and the dog, carefully crosses the top of the fence until the others arrive to help him. Once reunited, they all decide to head toward the other side of the river. The zombies manage to infiltrate Air Force One. With the chairman and the president being infected, the chairman begs the president to launch their weapons in the belief that the other countries will launch theirs too and all the zombies will be destroyed. I don't think he realizes humans aren't weapon-proof. Meanwhile, Takashi's group reaches the other side of the river, void of any civilians or zombies. After changing and getting familiar with new weapons, they decide to head towards Saya's house first since it is nearby. They start to find more zombies as they approach their destination, and an unexpected wire barrier causes Rei to fall off the Humvee. The others have to deal with unfamiliar weapons and their own courage in order to fend off the zombies. Outnumbered, Takashi and Saiko try to lead them away, but they are still drawn in the direction of the others. As things start to look bad, they are assisted by a group of firefighters led by Saya's mother, Yuriko Takagi, while Takashi and Saiko take a different route. Takashi and Saiko acquire an amphibious vehicle to help evade the zombies and set it up on a sandbank in the middle of the river. Later, they ditch their vehicle in a park fountain to lure the zombies while Saiko attacks them. However, Saiko freezes when she comes across some zombie children, forcing Takashi to help her. They decide to camp out at a shrine, where Saiko reveals that she almost killed a rapist 4 years ago yet enjoyed it, saying she has not changed since that day and does not deserve love. Takashi responds by kissing her. However, the next morning, as zombies start to surround them, Saiko, hating the sadistic side of herself, gives in and refuses to fight back. Takashi tells her that he has always admired her, giving her the motivation to defeat the zombies with a real sword. Accepting their dark sides, Takashi and Saiko safely arrive at Saya's house. Having spent a day at Saya's mansion, which has been heavily fortified, the group needs to decide if they should stick with her family and staff and be treated as kids or go off on their own and retain their independence. Saya is mad at her father for presuming she was dead during the outbreak while taking action to safeguard the neighborhood, but Takashi snaps at her since her parents are proven to be alive, which calms her down. Saya's father, Soichiro Takagi, a Japanese right-wing nationalist politician, arrives and executes his zombie friend in front of the survivors at the mansion to show them their current situation. Kota, not wanting to lose his guns and become useless, refuses to give up his guns to Soichiro's men. When Soichiro arrives to question Kota, the others come to his defense. Meanwhile, one of the students, who stayed with Shido, reports the situation at the mansion to Shido himself, who is watching some group fun between the students. Saya tries to calm down a group of survivors who refuse to accept their current situation. Takashi is appointed the leader by the others, much to his surprise. Soichiro later gives Saiko a prized katana as thanks for protecting his daughter and gratitude to Saiko's father for teaching him. As the group makes plans to go and rescue their remaining families, Shido and his followers arrive at the mansion, to which an angry Rei charges up to him with her bayonet. Rei reveals she hates Shido because his father, a corrupt politician, asked him to force Rei to repeat a year as revenge against her father, who was investigating him for corruption. Soichiro arrives and tells Rei that Shido's fate is in her hands, but Rei decides he is not worth killing. Elsewhere, a U.S. submarine has been given orders by the succeeding president to launch a controversial preemptive nuclear strike at China, North Korea, and Russia, while the crew at the International Space Station watches in horror as both the U.S. and Russia launch their own strike at each other. The U.S. and Japanese naval forces are forced to team up to shoot down Chinese weapon strikes, as China has launched a mix of its ballistic weapons in retaliation. However, one weapon manages to penetrate through the joint US-Japanese air defenses, exploding somewhere in Japan. Due to the EMP burst from the explosion, machines, and electronics near the blast breakdown, which causes Shido's bus to crash and destroy one of the barricades. With a giant horde of zombies coming to the mansion, Soichiro orders the main gate to be closed, but the overwhelming zombies breach the gate, causing panic among the survivors. Despite the situation, the group remains optimistic as they finally arrive at a safe place. The end. To watch more explanations of these kinds of movie shows, click on the videos on your screen. Kindly like the video and subscribe to my channel, and press the bell icon, so you don't miss any new videos.